My name is Ava Carter, and what my sister said at her baby shower in front of everyone will make you question everything you think you know about family. But before I tell you what happened next, make sure to subscribe to the channel and comment your country below, because stories like this deserve to be heard. I remember standing there, holding a small gift wrapped in soft pink paper, watching everyone smile, laugh, and celebrate her, my younger sister Lily, the one everyone always called fragile, sweet, deserving of happiness. The room was glowing with pastel decorations, soft music, and that artificial warmth people create when they want everything to look perfect. And for years, I played my role in that perfect picture. I supported her. I protected her. I sacrificed things no one even knows about, all for her. So when she grabbed the microphone, smiling like she had the world in her hands, I didn't think anything of it. I thought she was just going to thank everyone, maybe even say something kind about how I had been there for her through everything. But instead, she looked directly at me, her smile shifting into something I didn't recognize, and said, "I just want to thank my sister for raising my child when I couldn't." At first, people laughed softly, thinking it was some kind of emotional joke. But then the room went quiet, because I wasn't laughing. My hands froze around the gift, my chest tightening as every pair of eyes slowly turned toward me, confusion turning into something heavier, judgment. I could feel it building in the air like a storm about to break. The whispers started almost immediately. What does she mean? Did she give her baby away? Why didn't we know this? And just like that, the narrative shifted, not toward her, but toward me. I could see it in their faces, the curiosity, the suspicion, the silent questions that no one had the courage to ask out loud. And Lily, she just stood there, holding her stomach, smiling softly like she had just shared something beautiful instead of something that twisted the truth into a weapon. The worst part? There was a piece of what she said that wasn't entirely a lie, and that's what made it so dangerous. Because yes, I had raised a child, but not in the way she was making it sound, not in the way that made me look like I had taken something that belonged to her. I opened my mouth to speak, to explain, to stop whatever this was turning into, but no words came out. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. She wasn't confused. She wasn't emotional. She was doing this on purpose. Every step I took toward her felt heavier, like I was walking into something I couldn't undo. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear the room anymore, but I saw her eyes, calm, steady, almost satisfied. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a careless comment. This was a setup, a perfectly timed moment designed to turn everyone against me. And the worst part? I had no idea why. I could feel every second stretching painfully as I stood there, trying to gather myself while the room quietly judged me, and Lily just kept smiling like she hadn't just set my entire life on fire with one sentence. I finally forced myself to speak, my voice steady on the outside but shaking underneath. "That's not what happened, Lily. You know that." But instead of backing down, she tilted her head slightly, that same soft, innocent expression still on her face, and said, "Then why don't you tell everyone the truth, Ava?" And just like that, she handed me the stage, knowing exactly how impossible that truth would be to explain. Because how do you tell a room full of people that years ago your own sister disappeared for months, showed up one night desperate and pregnant, begged you to keep her secret, and then left again, leaving you to handle everything alone? How do you explain the nights you stayed awake with a crying baby that wasn't yours? The sacrifices you made while she rebuilt her life somewhere else, free from responsibility, free from judgment, while you carried the weight of her choices in silence? I could feel my throat tightening as memories flooded back. Hospital visits, legal papers, lies we agreed to tell everyone to protect her. All the moments where I chose her over myself without hesitation. And now she was standing there rewriting that history like I had stolen something from her instead of saving her. The whispers grew louder, sharper this time, people leaning toward each other, forming their own conclusions. And I saw it happening right in front of me. The shift from confusion to quiet accusation. And still, Lily didn't stop. She placed a hand gently over her stomach and said, almost like she was speaking from pain, "I was young, I was scared, but that doesn't mean I didn't love my child." And that was it. That was the line that broke whatever fragile control I had left, because now she wasn't just twisting the story, she was painting me as the villain. I shook my head, stepping closer, lowering my voice. "You asked me to do this. You begged me." But she only blinked at me slowly, as if she didn't recognize the words at all, and whispered just loud enough for the people closest to hear, "I don't remember it that way." And the gasps that followed hit harder than anything she had said before. I felt exposed, cornered, like I was being pushed into a version of reality I didn't choose. And for a moment, I almost gave up, almost let her win, because the truth was messy, complicated, and painful, and it would destroy more than just her image if I said it out loud. But then I looked around the room at the faces of people who had known me my whole life, people who were now silently questioning who I really was, and something inside me shifted. I wasn't just protecting her anymore, I was protecting myself. Still, before I could say another word, before I could finally break the silence and expose everything she was trying so hard to bury, I heard a chair scrape loudly against the floor behind me, sharp enough to cut through the tension in the room, and then a voice, calm, firm, and completely unexpected, said, "That's enough." And every head in the room turned at once, including mine, because that voice didn't belong to just anyone. It belonged to the one person Lily never thought would speak. I froze as my mother stepped forward, her eyes scanning the room with a quiet authority that immediately silenced the whispers, and the moment she opened her mouth, every single person leaned in, waiting, because no one had ever seen her like this. "Ava," she said, her voice steady and controlled, "you've always done what was right, even when it wasn't easy, and it's time everyone here understands the truth." And suddenly, the air shifted. Every head turned towards me and then Lily, confusion and tension blending into a silence so heavy it hurt to breathe. My mother's eyes softened on me for just a second. Then she turned to Lily, her tone sharp now. "Do you really think the story you told reflects reality? That the sacrifices Ava made to keep your secret and protect your child were somehow a crime?" The room was still, frozen in disbelief, and I felt a mix of relief and fury as my mother laid out the facts, how Lily had vanished months before, how Ava had cared for the baby day and night, dealing with every challenge, and how every detail of this thank you moment had been twisted to make her sister appear guilty and me look like the villain. Murmurs began spreading across the room, faces flipping from judgment to shock, and I could see the shame creeping onto Lily's face as realization hit that her plan had completely backfired. She tried to speak, to defend herself, but my mother's next words cut through like a blade. "This is not the time to rewrite history. The truth is here, and it has always been in Ava's actions, not in your lies." And in that instant, the tension cracked, the weight of the secret lifting from my shoulders as I finally felt vindicated, the crowd now looking at me with respect, awe, and empathy instead of suspicion, while Lily shrank back, her confident smile gone, replaced with panic and the faint tremor of someone caught red-handed. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding, as I realized that everything she thought she had controlled, the story, the narrative, the perception of everyone in this room, had crumbled in seconds, and I had survived it with my dignity intact, my truth finally recognized. My mother nodded at me, a silent signal that I had done nothing wrong, that the years of quiet sacrifice, the sleepless nights, the tears no one knew about, all of it mattered, and it had shaped me into someone stronger than anyone had anticipated. Lily tried one last time, her voice shaking. I didn't mean for it to... But the room had already shifted. The audience, friends, family, everyone now saw the real picture. I raised the child not to steal, not to replace, but because I loved, protected, and preserved the family she tried to manipulate. And with every word my mother spoke, I felt an overwhelming wave of relief and empowerment, a mixture of sorrow for the betrayal and pride for the resilience I never realized I had. As the whispers faded into murmurs of understanding and admiration, I finally allowed myself to breathe, to smile, and to stand tall in the realization that no secret, no lie, no attempt to humiliate me in front of the world could ever undo the truth I had lived, and that in the end, the very people who had doubted me now knew exactly who I was, and who had truly been there all along.